All right, good afternoon, traders. Today is June 6th, 2025. My name is John Carignan. I moderate, and I am the lead instructor here in the BYOB Trading Room. All right, how I made 20K today. Hey, before we get started, let me remind everybody that Doug Campbell's going to have an open house June 9th. That's Monday. Okay, so that's right around the corner. All right, June 9th. From 9:30 to 4, okay? He's real good with options. I'll leave, you can't get in unless you register. I will leave a link to register in the description of the video, all right? So take care of that. So what do we have today in SPY? So let's take a look at it on the 10-minute chart first. All right, so we kind of gapped up. You can see big gap up here. All right, so we gapped up, and on news of the employment situation, which was good, had a little bullish 10-minute uptrend from the beginning of the day. So a little 10-minute uptrend, traded that, and then things started to melt off. And then we traded a 10-minute. I didn't trade it. I know some traders that did 10-minute downtrend. All right, pulling back to this high of day from yesterday, anchored VWAP right there. Okay, let's see what happens if I put that on the opening of the day. No different. Okay, so high of day back to here, and then we were looking for a bounce right on top of, support right here. We have support right on 598, 597.75. So we're looking for support right there. We got some support, and then price started going back up. And we played the 10-minute uptrend up into the day's high of day right up here. Okay, so you can see 10-minute uptrend right there. Now I made a lot of profits today, mainly on yesterday. I bought in looking at AVGO reporting and the employment situation. I bought some cheap calls, really cheap calls, cheap out of the money calls, and I mentioned that before I closed. And that's how I made the majority of my profits. Not all of them, but the majority. So you can see here what I made 20K on some, let's take a look here, on some 605 calls that expired today. Made 9K on some 601 calls that expired today. Made 1791 on some 602 calls that expired today. 1352 on some 600 strike puts that expired today. Traded some 610 calls. Made 1,000 on those. Made 524 on some 5 DTE 604 calls, 7 DTE 620 calls, made 415, 7 DTE 610 calls, 372, 625 calls, 14 DTE, made 174, 625 calls, 24 DTE, made $44, and some 620 calls, 21 DTE, made $28 there. And then I gave up on my put spread. I gave up, you can see 1352 up here on the puts that I made for positive, and the other side of the put spread I lost 516 on those 0 DTE puts that expired today. Okay, so that was that. And then on top of all of that, I traded some HIMs, and I lost $217 on the HIMs. So I'll pull that up. You can see right here I lost $217 on the HIMs. I had that long back here when HIMs was bullish a couple days ago, right here. And then, of course, they gapped up and kind of just melted off. So I bought those over here when HIMs was bullish. And then we never got going again. All right, so that was HIMs. Kind of tricked me out, I guess. Didn't make any money on those. I actually lost money on the HIMs. So you can see where I traded it. I sold my calls. for a loss. Actually reversed. I created a HIM spread, and these were negative, and I bought the cover here to make up some of the losses, and then I reversed here to go positive to make up some more of the losses, and then you can see right here I closed them out. That was the end of them on those HIMS calls. They were the 60 strike, 2 DTE or 4 DTE when I bought them. All right, 60 strike, because it looked like price was going to go to 60, and never got there. Okay, we got up there pretty high today. Got up to 57. All right, we were almost made it, and then we had the pullback. So there's HIMS. That was the other one that I made. I lost a little money on that. Other than that, that's it right there. I'll zoom this back over, and we'll go back to SPY. All right, and you can see where I bought these. These, you can see I had them overnight, so I started selling them at the high of the day when the market opened up, to capture a lot of the profit. Then I started to buy them back as the uptrend ensued right there, and then I sold off into the highs. You can see right there. That was how I traded this today. That was the $20,000 one. The $9,000 one, you can see I bought the dip and sold the peaks. Okay, bought the dip, sold the peaks. You can see all of the purchases there. The blue dots are the purchases, and the red ones are the sells. Trying to sell more than what I bought it for through there. 602 calls. Those were again, those were at the beginning of the day. Holding those overnight. You can see they paid off, so I profited from those. And 600. Looks like I bought 4 of those today, or I guess I was covering something. Oh, that was with the puts. Okay. Oh, okay. So that was me closing out the put spread. So I bought puts because I had some short, and that profited me $13.52. The 610 calls, 0 DTE, 1K there. Again, you can see right at the beginning of the day. Snatch my profit first thing in the morning. 604 calls, you can see right here, just buying the dips, selling the peaks, buying the dips, sell the peaks right here. So that was 500 right there. 415 on those. Sold some off into the beginning of the day, and then started to reaccumulate them, only to get rid of some more for some profits up here. And then I still keep accumulating those. 610 calls. Looks like I didn't have any of those overnight, so I started to buy those into the dip for a bounce off of VWAP or a bounce off of the all-time high anchored VWAP. So I started to accumulate those, and you can see I sold them off into the rally right up into this peak right here. You can see where I sold some, sold some. Made 372 on those. 174, that was, you can see right there, first part of the day. Closing out something that I had overnight. Then I repurchased, sold off into the peaks right here, and then bought some more. Still got some orders to buy some more of those and reload them. 625 calls, $44. Just buying the dip, trying to sell the high. Really didn't get much off of those. Of course, they're 24 DTEs, so you don't get much price action. You can see the candles are broken up. You don't even get any, sometimes you don't even get any trading during those minutes. All right, 620 calls, $28 there. Bought and then sold. Again, these are 21 DTEs, so you're not going to get a whole lot of price action on 21 DTE, 24 DTE. All the action is on the 0 DTEs. And then here's the puts that I had to flip. Okay, because those were long, so I had to sell them at a loss. Right there, those puts, 592 puts. And I sold them first thing in the morning, because I didn't know how, if price was going to go down. It looked like price was going to go up, so I had profit in my put spread, so I just took my profit for my put spread on that. All right, so let's go drill down. All right, let's take a look at this. Oh yeah, by the way, I'm just going to say, this is the consolidation that we had from the 12th to the end of the month. right here, okay, in May, all right. Now I'm looking for price to move up and do the same thing, okay, up on top of this consolidation. So I'm looking, I got another box up here. So I'm looking for price to come up here and consolidate up here in this area and kind of do the same thing before breaking out. And maybe the administration will have some news on the big beautiful bill. Maybe they'll have some news on the tariff negotiations. Maybe they'll have some news on the trade negotiations. All right, so I'm looking for all of that. And then I can probably foresee a climactic move to the upside, maybe 520, 560, and maybe even higher up there for that. So SPY. So let's take this off. Get the clean chart right here. Okay, on the 10-minute chart, we have, you can see it's a 10-minute downtrend coming into the close right there. 10-minute. On the 2-hour chart, got a 2-hour uptrend going into the close. You can see the yellow 3 EMA is up over the white 8 EMA. Okay, it says 2-hour uptrend coming into the close. On the daily chart, okay, daily uptrend coming into the close. Nice strong close there. Okay, we'll look at that on the scratch. Actually, we'll go right back to where we were because that looked good right there. Okay, so you can see price action, higher low, higher high, closing over the trap over the 17. And I think they all did that today, okay? And all of that is bullish, okay? Over the trap, over the 17, that is a bullish action. That is a bullish environment, all right? Closing over the uptrend line, that's bullish environment. Closing up here in the upper third, all right, okay? Up in quadrant 4, that's bullish, all right? Anytime you're closing candles over the all-time high anchored VWAP, that's a very rare occurrence, okay? That also is a bullish environment, all right? Bullish characteristics. Anytime price moves up and holds the higher ground, another bullish characteristic right there. Price moving up, holding that higher ground, okay? Price goes up and then holds over to the side, as opposed to going up and then giving it up, okay? Because that would be just neutral. See, again, you go down and you give it up. That's just neutral right there. All right? So that's just neutral. If you go down, you give it up. You go up, you give it up. All right? It's bullish when you move up and you hold the higher ground. Or when it's bearish, when you go down and you hold the lows. All right? That would be bearish. This would be bullish. All right, neutrals when it goes up and it comes back to the same spot it left from. All right, so there's price action. Higher lows, higher highs. That's a bullish. That's an uptrend right there. Let's take a look at the 2-day chart. Let's move this out of here. 2-day chart is not in an uptrend, okay? Because the first high we come to over the 17 happens to be the all-time high, so they have not made a higher high yet, okay? Good news is they're not moving down, okay? They're moving up and holding the higher ground, so they're not moving down. They're in a downtrend and not moving down. They're actually moving up, so it looks like they're ready to challenge the all-time high. So 2-day is in a downtrend but not moving down, all right? 3-day is also in the same thing, is in a 3-day downtrend but not moving down. Again, moving up and holding the higher ground up there. Weekly, same deal. Notice weekly. See the low right here below the 17. We took out that low. See how we made, there's a low. We made a lower low. So that's a downtrend, okay? There's a low. We made a lower low. There's a low. We made a lower low, okay? So this makes this a downtrend. And it's not until we take out and make a higher high do we have an uptrend. Well, the first high we come to is this one right here up over the 17. Okay, so that's the first high. So we have to come all the way back up here and take out the all-time high in order to negate the weekly downtrend. Okay, but the good news is it's in a downtrend. It's just a label, but it's not moving down. It's moving up and it's holding the higher ground. On the monthly chart, you can see right here, monthly is still in an uptrend. It never even got into a downtrend, not once, through here, through 2023 or 2024. Okay, monthly never got into a downtrend. Okay, reason being, you can see here's the low. They'd have to come all the way back here, take out that low in order to get into a downtrend. Either that, create a lower high, and then a higher low, and then take out the higher low. All right, that would be the other way. So we got a higher low already. So if they happen to take out that low right there, okay, they'll have a downtrend. So there's SPY on the monthly chart. Okay, now what do I like? Okay, I especially like, I'm going to zoom out here and go on my soapbox right now. Okay, this is what I like. Okay, this is a rare opportunity. I want you to think about it. Okay, it's a 10-minute uptrend over VWAP that's inside of a 2-hour uptrend, that's inside of a daily uptrend, that's inside, well, we would like to say weekly uptrend, but we just don't have it. But the good news is the weekly's moving up. That's inside of a monthly uptrend. Okay, all of that inside, and all of that is over the all-time high anchored VWAP. Okay, this is the rare opportunity. You're going to get more 10-minute trends, uptrends are going to go further. They're going to have a higher win rate, and your counter trend trades are going to have a lower win rate. All right, so think about it. You probably want to look for those 10-minute uptrends over VWAP. Try to trade those because we're in a unique environment right now. All right, we are in a stacked environment where you have 10-minute uptrends inside 2-hour uptrends, inside of daily uptrends, inside of monthly uptrends right now. Okay, so we're in a unique environment, and I'm trying to take advantage of all these. All right, so those are more likely to succeed. They're more likely to go further, and they're probably going to work out a whole lot easier. And I got to tell you this, my trading is a whole lot easier. Oh, and by the way, I started an account back on, I started it back on June 2nd on the open house. All right, so I'm already up on that account. I already doubled it. All right. Now, some of it is skill and some of it is, I traded some. I took my profits from the prior days and I bought some cheap calls in anticipation of, a good employment situation and a VGO report that was going to be positive. All right, I bought some really cheap out of the money calls. In other words, I would have lost a little but made a lot, okay, if price really moved. Okay, so that was a lot of those gains was from buying cheap calls that are out of the money. All right, but I already doubled my account. I almost tripled it. You can see I need, in order to triple it, the actual account there is 67K. In order to triple it, I would need 81,000, okay, because there's 27 times 3. Okay, so that would be 27, be 54, and then another 27, forgive me, my mind's drawn a blank. All right, another 27 plus 54, that's right, 54, right, is 81, yeah, 81, so I'd need 81 to get the triple. All right, so I'm on my way for a triple. Almost had a triple. All right, and then I almost wrecked my account, so I stopped, and I just kept my double. All right, so there's price action right there. Okay, there's my results for the first week of the open house account, and I started with 27K right there. I know it's hard to see. I could probably see if I can zoom in a little bit more for people. Okay, there it is. There's a little bit better. That way you can see it. All right. I can probably get a little bit better than that. Okay, so there's a little bit better than that. There's week 1 for me. Now this one is an outlier. This actually belongs on today, but I didn't have room for it, so I snuck it up there on trading day 3. All right, so that's that for today. Okay, so game plan. Basically, we came out of the gate, had a nice green candle from that 10-minute uptrend, and we bought some calls. And then I think we bought calls and sold our calls that we had overnight. And on the rally back up towards the highs, bought some more calls and sold those into the high of day right up there. All right, so that's what we did for today. Look at that monthly wick tail right there. See that tail? See, normally, sometimes, not often, what happens on the bottom happens on the top. So what you see here may likely occur over here. Okay, and that would take us up to about 670, 680. All right, just saying. All right, so in anticipation of that, I bought some. Okay, I bought some out of the money calls, lots of them. All right, I got some 42 DTE, 635 strike calls, some 630 strike, 35 DTE calls, some 625, 27 DTE calls, some 625, 24 DTE calls, some 620, 21 DTE calls, some 625, 14 DTE calls, some 627 DTE calls. You can see them all right there. This is my current inventory right there. Okay, so that's that right there. All right, let's drill down and see what you can see how we traded the beginning of the day with 10-minute. Okay, see this green consolidation? We had green erases red right here. Here's the red. Green erases red. So we were just looking for a good candle to buy into first thing in the morning. Okay, right there. And then another one right here where price comes back up through, and we had a 10-minute uptrend over VWAP coming back up to VWAP and up to today's high of day up there. So there's SPY. All right, and we've already done all of that. Let's take a peek at QQQ. And QQQ on the daily chart. Again, not quite the same as SPY. Okay, so QQQ inside candle. Lower high, higher low, closing over the trap, over the 17. That's a bullish environment. Up in quadrant 4 is bullish. Over the uptrend, over the all-time high anchored VWAP, bullish. And over making higher lows and higher highs. That's bullish. Moving up, holding the higher ground. That's bullish. All of that is bullish on QQQ. FNGB. All right. We've got a... Well, let's see what the high is. The high is 2178. The high is 2182. Okay, so looking like... That looks like a lower low. 2079, 2080. That was hard to tell. All right, so higher low, higher high. Closing over the trap, over the 17. That's bullish. Quadrant 4, that's bullish. Closing in quadrant 4. Over the all-time high anchored VWAP, also bullish. Over the uptrend, also bullish. So FNGB, bullish up here in quadrant 4. Making higher lows and higher highs. It's an uptrend. And bullish because it's closing up in the upper third and quadrant 4 right there. Let's take a look at IWM. Okay, IWM having a little breakout today off a little, looking like a head and shoulders, inverse head and shoulders pattern here. Okay, so IWM, higher low, higher high, closing over the trap, over the 17. Those are both bullish. Closing over the all-time high anchored VWAP, that's bullish. Over the uptrend line, that's bullish. Just neutral. We're not in the upper third. We're not in the lower third. And we're in an uptrend making higher lows and higher highs. Okay, so just neutral right through here. It's getting there. As soon as it gets in the upper third, that'll be bullish. Diamond down. All right, diamond down, having a little breakout. Higher low, higher high, closing over the trap. That's bullish. Over the 17, that's these green dots. That's bullish. Over the pink all-time high anchored VWAP, that's bullish. Over the uptrend line 1, that's bullish. Over downtrend line 2, that's bullish. In the upper third, okay, notice we're in the upper third of the quad lines. That's bullish. Making higher lows and higher highs, that's bullish. All right, let's take a look at our technicals, T2123. All right, so we shot out of the buyer's chop zone, straight into the overbought zone. All right, then kind of melted off in the morning and came back with a rally in the afternoon to close the day back in the overbought zone. T2123, okay, making, again, look at this rally. All right, a lot of these days right through here, these past 8 days, making higher highs each day. Every day, price moved up. See all these bullish gaps that didn't get filled by the bears? That's a clue. All right, whenever you see that, that's a clue. Anytime you see consolidation over prior consolidation, that's another bullish clue, okay? So let's just take, like, there's some consolidation. Okay, so when you see consolidation over prior consolidation, that's a bullish clue. Anytime you see bullish gaps that don't get filled by the bears, that's a bullish clue. Up over the 200 SMA, that is definitely a bullish clue, okay? Up over the 200 SMA, okay? Bullish gap up. Price moving up, holding the higher ground. That's a bullish clue. Look at this, another bullish gap that didn't get filled by the bears. Another bullish gap that didn't get filled by the bears. And look, we got consolidation, okay? Right here, consolidation. And then we got more consolidation over that consolidation. And then we got even more consolidation over that. This is all bullish environment right through here. Okay, all of that. Price making higher lows and higher highs, that's an uptrend. Okay, holding the higher ground, that's bullish. Attacking the two prior all-time high right here, that's bullish. All right, so T2123.15 looking good. Okay, notice price action is coming from the low. All right, down here from the low, moving up and holding the higher ground up there. See me just tracing the price action right there, holding the higher ground. That's a bullish environment. When you see that, price moves up and holds the higher ground, as opposed to moving up and giving it up. That's just neutral. All right, move up and you hold the higher ground. That is very bullish. Okay, and that's why 10-minute uptrends are more likely to work. So there's T2123. All right, we're going to look at the same product. All right, but it's on a different time frame. This is a 3-bar time frame. Okay, you can see price or data is up over the daily downtrend line right there. That's that gold line that cuts across diagonally the screen. Okay, you can see price action is doing the same thing as it did on the 15. It's moving up, holding that higher ground. That's bullish. Okay, you can see all of the green dots signifying that price closed over the 17 each of these days. See them all? Not one day did we close underneath the 17 through here. Okay, that's a bullish environment. Closing up over the 200 SMA, that's definitely a bullish environment. Again, you've got consolidation over prior consolidation. Okay, also a bullish environment. Let's just map out some of this consolidation right through here. Okay, and you can see we've got more consolidation up here on top of it. Consolidation over prior consolidation is bullish. Okay, moving down. Okay, again, you move down and you give it up. That's neutral right there. Okay, that's not bearish at all. Okay, just letting you know this is bullish right now. T2123. Okay, so 3 more green candle bars today. Like to see price move up through here and take out this high. As soon as we take out that high, that's the daily downtrend. That will remove the daily downtrend and negate it and convert a daily uptrend right there. So we'll see how far we get. Okay, you still got to deal with the daily 200 SMA right up here. Okay, if we get past that, which I believe we will, all right, and take out this high, we will negate the daily downtrend that we're in, T2123. All right, FNGB, real quick on this one. Okay, I got to zoom in because I can barely see. Okay, buying from the beginning of the day, little 5 martini lunch there. All right, came back, did some more buying. All right, and then they started their weekend early. You can obviously see there with about 4 martinis as they're walking out the door. All right, so there's some FNGB. That's bullish, okay? When you look, price action, okay, not just one candle. Look at what they're doing as a whole. Moving up and holding that higher ground. That's bullish. Okay, again, up over the 200 SMA, bullish. Up over the all-time high, anchored VWAP. Okay, that's bullish. Over the uptrend line, bullish. FNGB looking good. It's still bullish. It's still bullish. Even if it's 20, 35 days in a row, it's still bullish. All right? Okay, doesn't mean it's coming down today or tomorrow, okay? It's still bullish. It's bullish until it's not. All right? And it hasn't said it's not yet. Okay? It can go up and move to the right. That's still bullish if they hold the higher ground. If they give it up, that would be neutral. But look, they keep moving up, all right? And then move to the right. Move up, move to the right. Up, to the right. Up, to the right. Up, to the right. That's all bullish. There's FNGB. All right, let's take a look at a few sectors, and then we'll wrap this weekend up. By the way, June 19th, I think we're off, or the 17th. I'm pretty sure it's the 19th. Okay, we get a day off of the markets. I think that's Juneteenth. Mark that on your calendars. We get another day off. I hope it's a 3-day weekend. That'll be nice. All right, let's pull up. Yeah, that's the one I want. And then I want the scratch, and I want the daily time frame, and I want XLE. All right, it's our energy sector. Okay, price right here, no longer in the lower third. See, it didn't close in the lower third, so it's neutral. Okay, it's in an uptrend, but the bottom line is hasn't moved up in like 14 days. Okay, it's in an uptrend, but you wouldn't know it because it's not moving up. They just finally broke out of it again for the second time out of the lower third. They were bearish in the lower third. Now they broke out of it. Notice they closed out of the over third, so that would be neutral, not bullish, just neutral. All right, price action under downtrend line 1, that's bearish. Underneath downtrend line 2, that's also bearish. Underneath this 12-year high, 12-month high, anchored VWAP, also bearish. Underneath the midpoint, also bearish. Closing over a bullish trap is bullish. Closing over the flat 217 EMA, also bullish right there. Okay, so this is really just neutral right through here. Not doing anything spectacular. I think for 14 days they failed to make a higher high. All right, and they're in an uptrend, but they're just not moving up. All right, they made a higher low, definitely did that. Okay, but not getting enough love to make that higher high yet. So there's XLE. Let's take a look at USO. All right, USO. Oh, nice candle on that one. All right, USO is in an uptrend because it's making higher lows. There's a low. There's a higher low. All right, and then look, we got a higher high. So that's an uptrend. So there's USO. Not in the lower third, so it's neutral right through here and in an uptrend. We closed over the trap over the 17. That's bullish. We're closing under this 3-year high anchored VWAP. I'm not going to say that's bearish because we are headed towards it. All right. If we start fading away, I'll say it's bearish. But right now we are heading toward it to knock on the door. That is neutral right through there. So there's USO. Okay. And still underneath this downtrend line right here. That would be bearish right there. Okay, so just neutral through here. All right, but exhibiting some good behavior. All right, some really good behavior there on USO. All right, not much further. They could get up over this all-time, 3-year high anchored VWAP. That's the post-COVID high anchored VWAP. All right, hasn't been the same since COVID. All right, so there's USO. Let's take a look at UNG. This is Nat Gas. Nat Gas is still in a downtrend. Not till they take out this high. Still in a downtrend. They got to take out that high. They can have an uptrend. You could call it a weak uptrend right here, taking out this high right here. I mean, they did come back and, well, that high didn't even get over the 17, so that's not a good high. Okay, so UNG still in a downtrend. Closing over the trap and over the 17, that's bullish. Closing over the backside of this downtrend line, that's bullish. Closing over the uptrend line, that's bullish. Not in the lower third, that's neutral. All right, and up over this weak 12-month high anchored VWAP, that's bullish. But let me just show you the whole picture. Okay, it's not like it's the all-time high anchored VWAP. Okay, we didn't really set the bar high for them to jump over it. Okay, just doing this is bullish, but let's just say, let's call it like it is. Okay, it's like, you know, it's like the kiddie ride. You know what I'm saying? They just barely made it over the kiddie ride. All right, so there you go, the kiddie challenge. All right, so bar isn't set that high. Anyways, it's neutral. Okay, no longer bearish. Okay, it's neutral. And it's exhibiting some signs of bullish behavior, closing over the trap and over the 17 and over all of these, over the uptrend line and over the downtrend line and over that 12-month high anchored VWAP. Okay, but let's just face it, it's not in the lower third, it's not in the upper third, so it's just neutral. So there's UNGs. Take a look at GLD. GLD is bullish. GLD's in an uptrend because it's making higher highs and higher lows. It's closed under bearish cross and under the 17, kind of neutral there. We're over the all-time high anchored VWAP. That's bullish. We're up in quadrant 4. That's bullish. We're up over the uptrend line. That's bullish. Making higher highs and higher lows. That's an uptrend and bullish. There's GLD. That's looking good. SLV. All right, SLV making a higher low and a higher high. It's a new 12-year high for SLV. Price action closing over the trap, over the rising 17, over the 12-year high anchored VWAP. It's only 6 months, but it's also a 12-year high, all right, for SLV. So over the 12-year high anchored VWAP right there. And price action up in quadrant 4, that's bullish, making higher highs and higher, making higher lows and higher highs. That's also bullish. SLV. All right, let's take a look at SMH. SMH is bullish. Up here in the upper third, that's bullish. Over the downtrend line, bullish. Over the all-time high anchored VWAP, bullish. Moving up, holding that higher ground, that's bullish. Okay, making higher lows and higher highs, that's bullish. XLK, Big Brother. All right, Big Brother's making a, I'm just going to call it an inside day, lower high and a higher low, closing over the trap, over the 17, bullish, over the uptrend line, bullish, over the all-time high anchored VWAP, bullish, dangerously close to taking out the all-time high. Look how close we are. We're almost inside that candle. All right, up here in quadrant 4, it's bullish and in an uptrend and holding the higher ground. Everything is bullish. All right, this is really looking good. You got T2123 exhibiting bullish behavior. You got SPY. You got QQQ. You got FNGB. You got T2123, which is a small cap, mid cap, kind of. All right, represents the whole market. That's exhibiting bullish behavior. Okay, you got technology exhibiting bullish behavior. See what financials are doing. All right, moving up, holding that higher ground. Up in quadrant 4, it's bullish. Again, closing over the trap, over the 17, bullish. Over the all-time high anchored VWAP, bullish. Higher lows and higher highs, that's an uptrend. Okay? Moving up, holding the higher ground, that's bullish. Okay? Here's the problem child. Okay? IYT, this is transports. Okay, we need to see signs of things getting moved around the country, all right? We want to see signs of shelves getting restocked because consumers are just flying into the store and buying everything up, okay? That would show signs of a really good economy, all right? We're not getting that yet, all right? But what we are getting is, let's call it like it is, okay? Higher low, higher high, over the trap, over the 17, that's bullish, okay? From this location up and holding the higher ground, that is bullish, Okay, we're up over the midpoint. That's bullish. We're up over the uptrend line. That's bullish. We're caught underneath the all-time high anchored VWAP, but we're headed for it and knocking on the door. Okay, so that's neutral. All right, we're not in the upper third. We're not in the lower third, so that's neutral, but exhibiting some bullish behavior. Okay, the problem is they haven't made a higher high in about 14 days. Okay, so it's kind of just like the XLE and the IYT. Okay, yeah, oh, this is the IYT. Okay, so just kind of stuck here. All right, as well as the IWM. All right, so it's not making. I want to see it start making some higher highs and higher lows. I do like the consolidation into the highs here. I like that a lot. Okay, it's been 3 weeks. Okay, the cake should be done, and it's time to cut it and serve it. All right, that's, in other words, time to move on and make a new cake. All right, so there's IYT. All right, that's it for me for today, traders. All right, I'll take some questions in the room. If not, we can all start our weekends early. Alan, trading hurts sometimes, but watch this later. 1 minute, 21 seconds. Only him has the world record. Wow, we'll take a look at that. Alan, SPY testing VWAP. Alan, okay, last 15 minutes. We'll see what the market is ready to push. Yes, we were looking for that. Alpha Dog locked in 3 daily goals. Hey, let me just show you guys something, okay? You saw my results, all right? All right, this is out for everybody out there in video land, digital land, cyber land, okay? You saw my results, all right? But to me, it doesn't matter what I do. It's what the people do that come into this room. That's what matters, what happens. Okay, so let's look at who did well today. I know Brad made a couple daily goals. All right, so there's, yeah, two daily goals there. Okay, it doesn't matter if I'm doubling my account, tripling, even quadrupling my account. If these people in the room can't make money or profits, all right, it's all meaningless. All right, so I want to show you that they are making goals. Brad made a couple goals. Coaching, you're welcome, H3. Robert locked in 3 daily goals. All right, one goal is 1% of your account. So that means you can see Brad moved his account up 2%. All right, if he does that over the next 50 days, he's doubled his account, right? All right, and if you compound it, he'll probably get it done in 40. All right, just think about that, okay? You got some guys in here. Robert got 3 daily goals, so he's going to cut the time into 1/3. All right? I know Jim made a couple daily goals. 7 goals for Jim. Woohoo. Love it, Jim. Way to go. 7. All right, see that? 7%. He moved his whole trading account up over 7%. Nice work, Jim. Mel got a goal. I know that. She exited for a half a goal there. I think she picked up a couple goals earlier. So I'm going to give her 2.5 goals. She did well. We'll find it coming up here. Rickster's at Woody's Privet. Not sure what Rickster did. He did puts. I can't understand it, but if he did 42%, that's fantastic, Rickster. H pattern, no, not on, was right there, and some others. Let me just say, at the beginning of the day, I saw Allen with 14 daily goals. Okay, and I'm moving up. I think Eric got a goal today, or 2. All right, I'm getting there. All right, here's Alan. Alan got 14%. All right. And 3 daily goals for Jim. I think he had more. He updated us down there. Brad, you can see there's Brad's 2 daily goals. Okay. And you can see, okay, so the people in the room that participate in the conversations mostly, all right, you can see they're making daily goals. Okay, that's more important than me making goals. Okay, that's more important than me doubling my account. Okay, it all comes down to what you can do in the room, okay? And by the way, I offer free coaching for 15 minutes. I mean, I will hook you up. We will solve your problem. If you are losing money, stop what you're doing and get with me so we can fix it. All right? Let's fix it. Switch to a paper account. Let's fix it. All right? So you're not losing real money. Hey, money's hard to come by. We work way too hard for our money to be just losing it. All right? All right? Trying to figure this out. So while we're figuring it out on paper, all right, getting that to work, then we introduce slowly real money. All right? Slowly. Small increments. All right? Figure it out on paper first. All right? No sense in losing real money. Okay? So there it is. All right? So that's it for me for today. All right? Had a great week. Obviously, you can see. All right? I look forward to seeing everybody on Monday. Don't forget, Doug has an open house on Monday. All right? We'll see what happens next week. Maybe we get some follow through. I'm telling you, I think we get some more follow through. Okay? Got a 2-hour uptrend, so you can see I was buying some out of the money options. Out of the money options right there. And into the future, 27, 35, 42 days till expiration. All right, everybody, have a beautiful weekend. Thank you for being here. All right. Wait. Robert wants me to look at a few products here. All right. CLPT. Let's look at that one on a daily chart. CLPT. That's caught in a downtrend right there. You got a higher low, you haven't broke this. This is diagonal resistance. So let's see how it does with the diagonal resistance. And you're showing a head and shoulders pattern. Okay, and you probably got some horizontal resistance right there too. All right, so if with this higher low you happen to climb up here and hold the higher ground, that's when it looks interesting and bullish. Until then, that's a nice candle, but it might be the exhaustion candle. All right, I'm just saying it might be. All right, and we won't know till they get up here and consolidate. Okay, so we got equal lows. See this, equal lows here, and you're showing a head and shoulders pattern on CLPT. Okay, so there's that one. All right, hope you're still here. XL. All right, XL is, let's go look a little further back. Let's go look even more further back. Okay, it's been 25 years since XL has been up here at this level. Okay, 25 years. Needless to say, it's up over the all-time high anchored VWAP. Okay, so that's bullish. All right, I had to go to the monthly chart to find that. All right, and on the daily chart, let's see what we got here. Okay, oh yeah, by the way, back to the monthly. Okay, so this is going to be resistance. Okay, this is going to be 25 years of resistance right there at 48.40. Okay, if you're in it, think long and hard about taking profits and let them prove they can hold the higher ground. Okay, if you're in it and you're up here, 48.40, again, it's going to be 25 years of price holding for that number. All right, just dreaming for that number. Okay, so let them get up there and see if they can hold the higher ground for more than a month or something like that. Okay, go back to the daily chart. Okay, you're holding this area right here, but you're not holding that. Okay, if I got up into there, I'd sell again. I really would. I would sell again. And look at all the selling that's going on. You've got These are daily candles. They're not like hourly candles. I mean, a barrage of selling. All right. And that's just, like I said, that's 25 years of pent up energy right up there. That's finally hit, pay dirt. Okay. I think maybe, for me, I would pick something else. I think you'll make more money off of trade and spy than you will trying to chase this down with not much reward until you can see it get up over 48 and hold the higher ground. I don't think there's enough reward there for you to trade it. But again, it's my opinion. I'm not you. All right. But I think for me, I would be a pass on this one to go long. It's bullish. Okay. Hitting that 25-year high, that's bullish. No doubt about it. Okay. But you can see what 25 years of pent up energy does. Okay. It didn't stay up there long. All right. So if it get up there and hold that higher ground up over 48, then you look primed to go all the way to 50 and even further. All right. But right now you're dealing with resistance. You're dealing with 25 years of pent up energy of people waiting for that number, institutions waiting for that number. And if we look at this move, that's probably two of the biggest green candles in these daily trend. Look back past 40, 30 candles. Are there any bigger green candles than these? Okay? There's not. So there's a high probability that these are exhaustion candles. So let it cool off, find support, let it pull back to support, and then have a running start up at it again. And minor support would be on, see this double peak right there? I would want it to pull back and touch that. Probably even want it to pull back and touch all of these too. All of this back down to 37, 47, and then J hook back up there and give it a second shot. Okay? But I think until it hits support, picks up some spinach and some mustard, I think this thing is done. I think those are exhaustion candles. I think it needs to cool off for some time. And it's been cooling off for, looks like 2, maybe 3 weeks now. Okay? And still not back up at those highs. And it's probably going to take a while. All right? But I think it's going to J-hook off of minor support. You got some minor support right there at 40. All right? So I know you're listening, right? So right there, that's for Excel. And yes, all great. Thank you, Robert. All right, and I'm just saying I don't think there's enough reward for the risk right there. Okay, and that looks like exhaustion. I would look for this to roll over if it got below these. Next one is Amazon. Oh, I like Amazon. Well, that's bullish. Look at that big cup right there. That is really bullish. That's like an inverse head and shoulders. You got the cup, you got the bowl, whatever you want to call it. Actually, you got a double. Look, you got the bowl, and now you got the handle right there. You got the cup and handle. Oh, look, you got an inverse, even bigger. Okay, not only do you have a little one going on right here, but you got an even bigger one happening. That's the head. Okay, and then there's right shoulder, and there's left shoulder right there. Look for this neckline breakout, which I think you're getting right now, and watch the right arm extend up to where the left hand left off, right up there. This is looking great. This really is looking great. And I like the idea that you broke through resistance and you're up here finally. This is awesome. I like this one a lot. I think you're set to go. Just got to get past. There'll be a little turbulence. Again, this is the valley between two peaks. That will be a target. Look for a little turbulence to happen right there. You're not there yet, but it's coming. It's coming soon. All right. Look for some turbulence, maybe some waffle, maybe some pullback to trend would be normal. All right. All right. And then look for the bulls to step in again after hitting that pullback to trend and then go higher. Okay. QXO. Oh, that one's rocking. Another one. Another cup and handle. All right. Obviously, it's got some prior price action with a huge gap there. All right. This is looking fantastic. All right. There's your 2025 cup. There's your May handle right there. And you're up over the highs. Love this. Yeah, this is breaking out now. All right. Okay, now this would be, see how this would be exhaustion? See the big candles into the end of the move there? So it needed to cool off. See the cool off? Now it's holding the higher ground on the cool off. Okay, that's what makes everybody interested in holding this. And then we get the pop up again. So now this is igniting, whereas these are exhaustion. Okay? So this is igniting right there. So look for this. Look for follow through on this candle. All right, you need follow through. It's normal to put in a little doji on Monday up here, or even a sword or a spinning top, but price has to continue on Tuesday. All right, this is looking fantastic. All right, another cup and handle right there. What did he say? Coin? Coin is, yeah, that's up, moving to the right. It's really having a tough time with this right now, okay? Looked like you broke the downtrend line right here. Okay, let's just draw two downtrend lines right there. One there and one here. Okay, so you're above downtrend line 1, downtrend line 2. Okay, so that's looking good. Looked like you found some support on the backside of downtrend line 1. So that's looking good. You're up, you're holding the higher ground. That's looking good. I would look for this to challenge this breakdown candle high. That would be my first target. That red breakdown candle high right there. That would be my first target, which is 291.55. So if you do get a breakout, okay, 291.55 would be my first target up there. Okay, that's a $40 move from 250. Okay, things are looking good. You're exhibiting bullish behavior in the fact that you're holding the higher ground, but you haven't moved up in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, basically all of May, okay? Ever since this candle here, since say May 13th, May 14th, okay, the second half of May, you've been consolidating, and consolidating is good, all right, because that means they're re-energizing, they're getting the spinach so they can take on Bluto, they're getting some mustard, all right, they're getting a little skip in their step. Okay, this is good, this consolidation right up here. Okay, so next target's that breakdown candle high, and you have resistance up there. Okay, so okay, you got some resistance. See right there? See these lows? Tack into these highs. So if you get up over this, good chance you're going to go for that breakdown candle high. Then you get up on top of that. I want to see it consolidate up there. But this is nice consolidation. This is looking bullish right now. And you're showing an inverse head and shoulders. Another one right here where this is the head. And you can see a right shoulder, left shoulder. Look for that right shoulder to extend, that right arm to extend up where the left arm is, way up here. Okay? That's looking good. Coin's looking good. It's just not ready for the breakout. It's still consolidating. Maybe it's waiting for some good news. All right? Thanks, Robert. Have a great weekend. Thanks, Arnaldo. You too. Have a great weekend. John, what's your target on SPY, please? Target for SPY is... All right, and my target is 570.41. And I got that target, Mel, by... Okay, I got that target by coming over here. All right, and let's just say Wall Street bought the dip. All right, and I'm going to be conservative about the dip. Okay, I'm going to take from this valley low, like down to this valley low. Okay, and I'm not even including all of this. All right, and then I'm going to duplicate that. All right, and I'm going to stack it up on top of this. Okay, let's just say Wall Street bought this dip. Okay, this would be a one risk unit, buying the dip and getting one reward. Okay, Wall Street's just like us. They like two reward units, okay, for each risk unit. Okay, so we left off at 670. You can see 770 is right there, is the next up higher. And that's being conservative about my measurements. Okay, so just saying that there's a possibility. Now, I'd be tickled if we just got to 650. All right, 670 would be awesome. 700, I would be blown away. 750, okay, I would just expect one risk unit. But who knows what can happen, Mel? Anything can happen. What happens if we get some really good trade deals for the USA? All right, that would rocket price off. Let's say everybody says, okay, no tariffs on anybody. All the foreign countries say we're going to drop the tariffs on us, and then we agree to drop the tariffs on them, and then we have free trade. That would really rock price, okay? Let's say Ukraine and Russia came to peace. Hamas and Israel came to peace. Okay? And China decided to be a little bit nicer. All right? So we don't have to keep stockpiling weapons. All right? That would be huge. There's a lot of good things that could happen. All right? They just haven't happened yet. Okay? Let's say we eliminate a whole bunch of unnecessary expenses from our federal budget, okay? That would be huge too, all right? So a lot of things could be the catalyst to get us there. And they're all on deck, but whether they get up to bat, I don't know. All right, Mel, so you got my read, 670. You still here, Mel? You're welcome. All right, traders, that's it. Okay. Yeah, we'll see. Again, I'd be tickled if we just got to 620. All right. That would be cool for me. All right. But, you know, I'm just going to say, it'll surprise you how high they can take it. All right, so that's it. I'll see everybody Monday. Don't forget, Doug's got the open house, and thanks for hanging out with me today. And I'm so happy to see y'all made some money. That's awesome.